Alright, so we got the 269 spoilers, and Yuta Okkotsu is back. He is not dead, and he's actually in his original body. And not only that, but also Higuruma is alive too. That's right, it turns out Sukuna actually didn't kill him. There's also a whole bunch of other craziness that is going on in this chapter. Also, let me point out that the spoilers this week are not coming from Miyamura. They're actually coming from Bachi the Croc. So there's going to be a lot more reading than what we typically get in these spoilers. So bear with me. Maki is upset at Yuta, but it looks like Yuta successfully got his old body back. Megumi says that his mind is fuzzy and asks that if it's really the effect of infinite void. Megumi also mentions that he wants to apologize to everyone. Yuji intervenes and says that he's the one who needs to apologize, but Kusakabe counters him, saying that it's Gojo's fault for not killing Itadori. Kusakabe adds in that he was in favor of Itadori's execution, and Yaga is the only reason he's with them now. Yuta explains that Rika is the reason that he got his old body back, saying that Rika kept on using reverse curse technique to maintain his old body while he was in Gojo's. Kusakabe says that Kenjaku was probably using multiple curse techniques, applying some sort of barrier technique. So yeah, like we were talking about, Okkotsu is back. And there was some kind of significance to Rika holding his lifeless body those couple chapters back when we saw him body swap to Gojo using Kenjaku's technique. And it's because she was just using reverse curse technique, keeping his body fresh, I guess. And I guess when the 5 minutes of Okkotsu's curse technique copying ability ran out, he no longer could use Kenjaku's body swap brain thing. And it turns out that he could just go back to his old body. That's it. And Gojo's dead forever, I guess. Oh well. You know, we could bring back Okkotsu, we could bring back Higuruma, which we're going to talk about next, but we can't bring back Gojo. It's fine. Maki says that she was the one who should have ambushed Kenjaku, and says that Higuruma should have been the one who had Inumaki's voice recorder to win more easily with the Executioner's sword. There can only be one voice recorder at once. Todo enters the conversation saying that Boogie Woogie won't work on Maki, saying that it would have been a close call for Yuta without him. He also mentions that Yuta and Rika were necessary to stop the rampage of the cursed spirits that were released after Kenny's death. So we're getting into some post-match coverage here, which is pretty cool. I guess we don't typically see this really in other series, but we've also talked about this amongst ourselves many times about how they could have come up with a way better plan going into the Sukuna fight than what they actually did. Mainly with the use of Higuruma's Executioner's sword and how Gojo was handled, of course, but there's no point in beating a dead horse. But first, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Raycon, because now is the best time to check them out with their upgraded model launch. That's right, they somehow improved the already best-selling everyday earbuds. They've got this great ergonomic design, multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once, which is pretty incredible, active noise cancellation, 32-hour battery life, a quick charge function that gives you 90 minutes of battery in 10 minutes of charging, along with wireless charging, weatherproof, sweat resistant, which is aided by these great optimized gel tips. And it comes in a bunch of new, great, vibrant colors that complement any and all skin tones, along with these really aesthetic protective cases to keep your buds safe. So I've said it before and I'll say it again, I absolutely love Raycon. I've been using them for about 2 years now, whether I'm in the office editing, doing some chores, cooking, working out, going on a hike, listening to music, podcasts, or audiobooks. And if you're wondering why you should get them, other than everything else I already mentioned, well, they're about half the price of the big guys with the same audio quality. So click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/Zhoniin to get 15% off your Raycon purchase plus free shipping. Thanks, guys. Panda says that Inumaki could have died from the recoil of his cursed speech if Sukuna was in good condition. Higuruma enters the conversation saying that Sukuna was just playing with him. If it was a situation where Yuta was present, he would have been killed instantly. Higuruma also adds that cursed speech is easy to counter and says that he was the one who came up with the plan of using the voice recorder inside of Yuta's domain instead of his where acts of isn't allowed. Kusakabe then remarks that it's frightening that Higuruma, who only learned how to use Jujutsu 2 months ago, survived this battle. So yeah, Higuruma's alive. I'm happy about it. But it's bittersweet because he's never going to do anything again. We're never going to explore his abilities or anything. So, it is what it is. But he survived because I guess Sukuna wasn't trying that hard. So his cleaves or dismantles, whatever he hit him with, it was like not full power. So he survived it. That's it. Maki then complains that things would have been different if Miguel and LaRue were there from the beginning, and everyone gives Yuta a sharp gaze and says that's true. Yuta then tries to calm Maki down, saying that LaRue and Miguel said that they wouldn't come. Yuji then mentions that the gauntlets that Yuji had were Akotsu's cursed tool, and says that it's because of Akotsu that Sukuna couldn't open his domain a second time. Hikari then mentions that it's thanks to Yuta that they were able to stand by inside of Rika so that they could ambush Sukuna after Gojo had lost, and separate Urarame from Sukuna. Okay, so those gauntlets that Yuji had were Akotsu's cursed tool? I don't really know what that means exactly, I guess I'll try to figure it out once we get the full chapter, hopefully tomorrow. I'd like to get my review out then, so subscribe if you haven't already. We've only got 2 chapters left. Let's make them count. Toto also mentions that he's to blame, saying that it's his fault that he couldn't save Yuji and Choso from Sukuna's domain. Toto says that Sukuna's cursed energy was too strong within the center of the domain, making it hard to capture both of their cursed energies. Maki then says it's not like she wants to blame Yuta or anything, since she herself caught 2 of Sukuna's black flashes. Panda and Inumaki smile in the corner. Miwa says that she was nervous, that it might have been possible that when she went to save Maki, she would be the only one transported and not Maki. Momo also apologized that she didn't do anything either. Hikari adds in that he was going to fight Sukuna after he was done with Urarame, but Urarame was really strong. Nobara says that she was sleeping until the last minute, so she doesn't really have anything to say. Yeah, Hikari was gonna jump in against Sukuna eventually, I guess, but he couldn't beat Urarame. I don't really know how much Hikari could have done, but it would have been fun to see, I guess. Yui then stands up and says that no one can argue against the fact that he was the MVP of the battle. Kirara tries to counter him by saying that he actually left her, but Yui snaps and says that she's too heavy. Kusakabe says that Mei, on the other hand, had it the easiest. Yui then snaps back at Kusakabe, saying that Mei did accomplish her part with the issue of the new shadow style. Mei then says that her life can't be exchanged for money, and that things that can't be exchanged for money aren't worth risking her life. Hikari then continues on asking about mentioning new shadow styles binding Val, that only a student of the new shadow style can use the simple domain. Kusakabe explains that the restriction of passing down the simple domain within the specific school as originally established by the creator Ashiya Sadatsuna to prevent the technique getting leaked to cursed users. But Mei adds on to Kusakabe, saying that as generations had passed on, the new shadow style lost its public utility, and the simple domain became kind of like a trade secret. Basically, they monopolized on the simple domain and imposed unreasonable binding vows. Since new shadow style also served as a technique to rely on for jujutsu sorcerers without a curse technique. Toto had learned new shadow style from Tsukumo, who had learned new shadow style using the Mekamaru method, watching people who know the technique and learning it directly from them. Kusakabe and Mei explain that students from the new shadow style can't refuse a deployment order from the head of the new shadow style, and there's other hassles too. It's also rumored that the head of the new shadow style absorbed the lifespan of new shadow students. Mei then expands on it, saying that the new shadow style is made so people can't discover who the head is. So the rumor itself is true, but no one can really confirm how they absorb the lifespan of students. Kusakabe adds that there's elderly students too, and says that if the head dies, one of the senior disciples will become the successor, so long as the head of the successor themselves does not reveal how it works. Outsiders can't figure it out. So, before I go any further, let me just say that Gege is quickly wrapping up this whole new shadow style side story, which I didn't even know was going to be a thing. Long story short, the new shadow style lineage and group here is corrupt, just like the other heads of the jujutsu world. You know, the higher ups and the big families and everything. They're kind of like adjacent to that, I suppose, although it's never really talked about until now. And Mei just winds up killing the head of the new shadow style at the end of the chapter here. And it's also revealed that Kusakabe Gege is the new leader or the new head of the new Shadow style, whatever. So I guess this is just solidifying the new regime of the Jujutsu world at this point. You know, since Maki killed all of the Zenins, and Megumi is still technically the head of the Zenin clan at this point. The Kamo clan is basically done. The higher ups are all killed. Gojo's killed, so that's gone. I mean, his parents are still technically alive, but Gege's never really addressed them in the manga. So, yeah. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, guys. And if you liked the video, please give it a like. I'll talk more about this stuff tomorrow. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.